Pregame.com.
Sunday, NFL action. The Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. I'm Marco D'Angelo, and I'm joined today by Stephen Nover. Stephen, you're our Green Bay Packer expert, and the Packers are home underdog. What's going on?
I know, shocking, Marco. Detroit has not beaten the Packers on the road since 1991 when they had Barry Sanders. So it's been 20 years. And so at first glance, you say, wow, what's going on here? Maybe a pick 'em, but Detroit, more than a field goal favored at Lambeau. Odds makers are right here. Detroit is going to not only win by more than a field goal, they'll win this game by, I'm calling it a touchdown. I think Detroit is the right play here. I think they beat Green Bay.
Green Bay, obviously, with the line, we know they're sitting starters this week.
Yes.
And that's why they're home underdog. It's kind of funny that, it's a flip of the coin from last year. Green Bay was the team that needed to win on the final Sunday to even make the play. Think about it. If they don't win the final Sunday of the regular season, they don't even make the playoffs. They don't have their rip through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And what was ironic is last year, Chicago, who had nothing to play for, I give them credit. They came out and played the full 4 quarters against the Packers last year and tried to knock them out of the playoffs. And in hindsight, it was a smart move to try to knock them out, because if they would have succeeded, Green Bay wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. But this year, Green Bay's not returning the favor, but it's a little different situation.
Marco, you have to always do what's best for your team. And in that situation, the Bears realized the Packers are very live, a very dangerous team. Green Bay had been on a roll. They didn't need to just win that last week. They needed to win in week 16, week 15. They were accomplishing all that. They were building up momentum, building up steam. The Bears knew that, so they tried to take them out. The situation this week with the Packers on Sunday, and this is why I like Detroit so much, Aaron Rodgers, if he plays, would play very little. They have offensive line injuries. They are, it looks like, going to get Chad Clifton back, their longtime starting left tackle who's been out. If he plays, though, he's going to be very rusty. He hasn't played since early in the season. He's the blindside protector. Who are the Packers playing? The Lions. Who's the dirtiest team in the NFL? The Lions. And so if Rodgers plays, it's going to be very little. They do have a good backup quarterback, Green Bay, and Matt Flynn, but he's more a game manager than a playmaker. And it's not just Rodgers, Marco. Greg Jennings obviously isn't going to play. I don't think Jermichael Finley plays. James Starks isn't going to play. Anybody who's even slightly nicked up is not going to play, and that certainly includes Ryan Pickett, who's very underrated. He's really the key to their run defense. He hasn't been playing. Their run defense has been terrible.
Well, the big difference this year to last year's situation, where Green Bay needed to win to get in, and Chicago, whether you want to call it that they were trying to knock Green Bay out or doing a service to the rest of the NFL, because, if Green Bay gets in, that knocks somebody else out. So the game meant absolutely a lot. It was win and you're in, lose, you're out. Where this year, both teams are in the playoffs. Detroit has something to play for because they're trying to secure the number 5 seed rather than the number 6 seed, but they're already in the playoffs. So it's not like Green Bay laying down is going to cost somebody
Well, even if it did, Marco, you have to do what's best for your team. You go 14-1, you've earned the right to lay down in your last week. I don't care. Their concern isn't other teams. Their concern is winning the Super Bowl.
This is another video that we could actually debate this all day long, because there's the thing of, one side of the coin is, for the integrity of the league, you should play all out.
You want to have integrity of the league, don't have any preseason games,
That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is, like you say, if you go 14-1, you earn the right to lay down and take that last week off. So there's a case for both sides of it. It's fortunate that this week, this game is not going to knock somebody in or out of the playoffs.
Yeah. No.
Where a few years ago that did happen, where a team didn't play their starters, and I think the Jets got into the playoffs.
Yeah, the Colts. Was it?
Yeah.
I see your point, and the game definitely means everything to Detroit. They want that number 5 seed. They do not want to go to the Superdome and play New Orleans,
right.
A hot New Orleans team that's probably unbeatable at home, and who beat the Lions by 14 points just a few weeks ago at home. Detroit is a real live shot to beat the winner of Dallas and the Giants. And they've already beaten Dallas, as we know. I won't remind you about that game. But and the Giants certainly have problems with their secondary. Detroit's strength is Matthew Stafford's a very hot quarterback.
Well, as you know, and I mean, there's a fondness for me with the Lions. They came through big for me last Sunday. They were my NFL game of the year, and it was my biggest bet I made this NFL season. And I didn't drink the San Diego Charger Kool-Aid that, they won 3 in a row, and everybody was ready to jump back on them after they dismantled, Baltimore. But the thing with the Lions, this is a team that, I know they're young, but they played very well the second half of last year. They're 10-5 now this year. You look at their losses this year, and that's one of the reasons why I liked them so much last week. Their 5 losses, 4 of the 5 losses were to the top seeds in the NFC. They lost to Green Bay, who's the number 1 seed. They lost to San Francisco, who's the number 2 seed. They lost to New Orleans, who's the number 3 seed. They lost to Atlanta, who's 6 seed. Last week they were the number 5 seed going into the week. And their 5th loss was to Chicago when Cutler was in there. And at that time, after the Chicago game, people were putting Chicago as like the second best team in the NFC at the time before Cutler got hurt. So Detroit's a team that, they've played very well against the teams they're supposed to. And they've just, they've come up short against the elite teams. And I just didn't think San Diego was an elite team last week. And
well, it was a heck of a call, Marco, on your part, because I know a lot of wise guys like San Diego.
The game ended up, the line crossed on Sunday. I mean, it ended up being, or Saturday they played, Detroit ended up being a 1-point dog at the close, which was just crazy, which a lot of that came in after Denver lost in the afternoon, because then it opened the door wide open for San Diego to try to, somehow get back into the AFC. But I can't disagree with you in this game. I hate playing games at the end of the season when I know one team's not going to play their best players. And I know that the thought process is, well, you take Detroit, but they're making you pay a premium for Detroit.
I was really surprised. I thought it might be like a pick. And I will say this on the other side. Matt Flynn is a good backup, and the Packers have very strong depth, and they will play hard. I mean, these guys play hard for Mike McCarthy regardless of the situation, and there's no love lost between these teams, and their reserves are good. But I just think their reserves and not having Aaron Rodgers, I'm guessing for 3 quarters, against a motivated Detroit team that's really playing well and it's going to go all out. And Green Bay does have a weak pass defense, and they don't have a good pass rush, and they're probably not going to show much blitzing or anything in this game. Got to think Detroit wins by more than 3 in this.
Do you think Sue gets chop blocked this week?
Not my favorite player. Don't like to talk about him.
Well,
but no, Marco, Green Bay is a clean team. They won't chop block the guy. Some other teams might. So I think Green Bay's another reason why I like them. I think they're one of the classiest, cleanest teams in the NFL.
I can't disagree with you. The only concern I would have on Detroit, other than obviously you're laying a premium with them, is the fact that the team finally made the playoffs. Do you think that there's any possibility of a letdown?
Well,
I know they have something to play for, but we've seen it earlier this year. The week after San Francisco clinched their division, they went to Arizona. They didn't cover. Yeah. Then you had Houston the week after they got into the playoffs for the first time. They lost at home to Carolina. So these young teams that finally get there, it's a letdown situation.
Detroit is a double whammy. I mean, certainly they have talent. They've really upgraded their talent level. They're capable, Marco, of beating any team. They're capable of losing to any team. And the double whammy is not only their youth, but their undiscipline. Yeah. Those are my 2 biggest criticism of Detroit, is that they're a youthful team. They can really rise. Stafford's a great young quarterback, but they're very undisciplined, and I put that on Schwartz. I think he's done a nice job rebuilding that team, but he needs to take that next step, make this team more disciplined, because they do stupid things, and they can lose to anybody.
Well, there you go. You have it. It's Stephen Nover's video best bet. Stephen wasn't with us last week, But the week before, you nailed it with your best bet. You called it the first win for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I had the first win with the Indianapolis Colts. I wish I would have called their second win because I had Houston in that Thursday game, but I did call the Colts for their first win.
Anything big for you this week as we wrap up?
I like a lot of NFL dogs. There's a favorite I like, but I've done very well this year with the dogs, and I like dogs. I got some big college plays, so I'm going well, Marco, and I hope it continues.
Well, check Steven Nover out. He's been an NFL guru, 17 winning seasons out of 18? So check him out. He's Steven Nover. I'm Marco D'Angelo. We're going to be back. Steven's going to join me. We're going to preview a college bowl game, too, with Steven. And then we've got more videos today with Brian Leonard and Scott Spreitzer. And I'll be doing a couple videos with RJ as well today. Be right back.